I'm sure by now the vast majority of my audience is very well aware of the events going on in Maui in the Hawaiian island chain with these incredible wildfires that came out of nowhere, really, and destroyed Lahaina and have cost so many lives. But something is missing from the reporting that we always hear in other natural disasters. How many of you picked up on it? Not many have, because I've looked and I haven't seen anybody covering this. You see, when a hurricane hits a certain area of Florida or wildfires hit other areas, certain questions always get asked, but they're not asking them now. We're going to cover this in today's video. But first, as always, I want to be diligent, and I want to say thank you to all of you who have joined us over the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, where it's only $1 per month. Even less if you sign up for an entire year. Full disclosure, I thought about doing this video over there and some other information that we're going to give you later today. But I thought, you know what? In this particular case, I think we need to make this public. Now, I could really use your support over there, no lie. For only $1 per month, there is some things going on here on YouTube that are just absolutely catastrophic. Compared to where we were even 2 or 3 years ago, it's just night and day. So if you have the ability for just $1 per month, it would make a huge, huge difference. And like I said, if you're fighting with all of the issues that everybody else is and you just can't afford that $1, it's fully refundable. First 90 days, no questions asked. There's a $5 level as well. And for those of you who have stepped up over there, God bless you. Thank you so much. On the 22nd of August, we are going to be drawing 2 names from those who have signed up over Patreon out of a hat, and we're going to be shipping out the last 2 known in existence Florida Maquis coffee mugs. One side says Masters of the Mind, the other side says Destroying the Illusion. It has the channel logo with the word Maquis, black and gold. These are brand new, never been used coffee mugs. So just wanted to put that out there. Now, here's the question. Why would Pele allow such a thing to happen? You see, everybody asks when bad things happen in other areas that are primarily Judeo-Christian, they say, well, why would your God allow, if he was a loving God, why would he allow such things to happen? Why is nobody saying, hey, wait a minute, why didn't Io, the god of creation, step in, or Wakea, the sky father, or Kanaloa, god of the sea, to protect Mao from Maui, lower right, trickster demigod, which is clearly who's responsible here. What about Paka'a, the god of winds? He's really the one responsible. Is he in collusion with Maui? Should we be looking at Kahauli, the god of sorcery? Could that be involved here? I mean, did Lono, the god of agriculture, not plead for this not to happen? Anybody see the point? Why do the gods allow bad things to happen? You don't ever hear that, do you? It's only when something happens in a Judeo-Christian area that they ask, why does the Judeo-Christian God allow bad things to happen? It's been the subject of atheist memes for decades. Now, here's the part that's going to blow your mind. How many of you out there have made this prayer? Lord, expose the evil. Lord, expose the evil so that we can identify it and we can flee from it. Okay, God says, well, I've told you what my law is. And the very first commandment I listed was, thou shalt have no other gods before me. I even reiterated this. Thou shalt not worship any graven image. Number 1 and number 2. Now, there's other commandments down here that were really kind of more murky, like thou shalt not kill. Well, would you do that in the defense of your children? Thou shalt not steal. Would you allow your children to starve? You see, there's all sorts of things with, like, number 6 and number 8. But number 1 and number 2 are pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward. And God could say, well, I even put out this thing called the Holy Bible, where there was this couple of cities, Sodom and Gomorrah. And I gave them chances. And I gave them multiple opportunities to turn away. And I destroyed them as well. And there's the story of Noah. And I even said, in the last days, things will be much like as they were in the time of Noah. But, okay, this is what you asked for. Where are all the atheists? Where are all the atheists saying, well, Hawaiians, where are all your gods now? See, they never really take this issue with the polytheists, do they? They always love to throw, oh, well, it's all myth. It's all make-believe. It's always that case when people talk about Jesus. You see, there's a very, very big difference between Jesus and the Bible and all other world religions. How many of you know what that difference is? Ronald Reagan said, without God, there is no virtue because there is no prompting of conscience without God Almighty. There is a coarsening of society without God. Democracy will not and cannot long endure. Ephesians 5 and 11 from the Holy Bible have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. It is shameful even to mention what the disobedient do in secret. In secret. No other gods. Period. Before me. Now, here's the part that's going to, kind of dovetail. That's going to mess with a little bit of my audience. I've heard all sorts of people say, oh, I'm not voting for Ron DeSantis. I'm voting for Vivek Ramaswamy. He's because he said this and this and this. How many of you know this guy's a Hindu? And he's from the priest class. How many of you knew that they had classes in India? And he's from the priest class of India, graduated from Harvard, graduated from Yale, and you're ready for this? You're going to love this. In 2011, with already having a net worth of $15 million because of his involvement in Big Pharma, Ramaswamy was awarded a postgraduate fellowship by the, you ready for this? Sit down. The Paul and Daisy Soros Fellowships for New Americans. 2013, Juris Doctor from Yale Law. Already having a $15 million net worth. How did he get this? Finance, pharmaceutical, and biotech industries. One of those industries that he was involved in was gene therapy and vaccines. How many of you knew that? So you can read this in his bio. That's how he made his money. Big Pharma. Roivant, R-O-I-V-A-N-T, Roivant, ROI standing for return on investment, meaning I'm going to do whatever I can to make money at anybody's expense. And you can read through how he made all of his big money with Axovant, Viking Global Investors. He called it the Berkshire Hathaway of drug development. This is how this guy made his money, and you want him to actually be the president? I mean, seriously. This is, it's not even close. People, Governor DeSantis went and played baseball at Yale when he was 18 and 19 years old and then left for the military. And he wasn't part of the priest class, multi-billionaire from time in Big Pharma pushing gene therapy vaccines. See, he's tried to reinvent himself to campaign, but he's not telling you the real truth of who he is. Well, that's why I'm voting for Kennedy. Hey, Kennedy's got it right, really? Kennedy's got it right. How many of you knew that RFK stood with Joe Biden and was incredibly happy when he shut down the Keystone XL pipeline? Remember when everybody was all so upset about, you see, he doesn't want Americans to provide their own oil. Doesn't want Americans to drill oil here. That's why he was on board and got arrested for standing with Joe Biden at a protest. Joe Biden wasn't there, but he stood with Joe Biden's policy on shutting down the Keystone Pipeline. He also has said, quote, that if elected president, he would begin to implement immediately AOC's Green New Deal. How many of you knew that? How many of you also knew that RFK Jr. had said that if it would make it to his desk, he would sign an assault weapons ban? So he's a gun grabber who is against American oil, who is on board with AOC's climate change and stands with Joe Biden. And that's who you're going to vote for instead of Governor Ron DeSantis? Really? Really? That's who you think is a better choice? That's interesting. or a Jesuit-trained, by the way, Jesuit-trained Hindu that graduated from both Yale and Harvard that made his money in big pharma, and part of that job was developing gene therapy vaccines. You're going to put this guy in the White House? You see, you pray for things to be exposed. And then sometimes when they're exposed, people are like, wow, yeah, that's kind of rough. Not sure if I could get quite on board for that. So, now, I mean, you can go stand with the people of Hawaii out of sympathy if you want. But the Bible was clear. The Bible was abundantly clear about graven images and having other gods. Why has nobody ever said, you know what, we need to be done with Hawaii? We need to release them. They need to be not part of the United States because we're a Christian country. And we want to return MAGA, Make America Great Again. I can think of one really good way. How about we take parts of our country that are polytheists, that worship graven images, proudly so, and we say, you know what? You're right. You should go back and you should govern yourself and go be part of Polynesia and be done with that. Well, that seems pretty extreme, Mucky. Well, yeah, maybe so. Maybe so, but, you know, the Bible does say, come out from among them and be ye separate. And I can't think of any other, even though it's still attached to the mainland, any more separate place right now than Florida. Because look who's attacking. You can't go one day without looking in the mainstream media and having them cook up some ridiculous, stupid story that's negative about Florida, about, oh, now it's leprosy. Because there's a tiny little itty-bitty, teeny-weeny handful of cases, but of course when the mainstream media gets a hold of it, you know, it's endemic. It's everybody has leprosy and we're all having our body parts fall off. It's just ridiculous. The crap people would believe, while simultaneously say, oh, I don't believe in the mainstream media, and then you just recite the same thing. So those of you, however, want to be actually awake, actually understanding what's going on, join us. We would love to have you over there. We have gotten rid of the folding chairs in the back. We've installed new stadium seating. We're thinking about putting in a refreshment stand, you know, so that those of you who do come over there can be more comfortable when we put out the new content. And like I said, sign up for a year. If you sign up for a year at the $1 level, you get a one-time charge of less than $11. One-time charge for the year. The next time you would need to pay again, if you paid now, we would be only a few months away from removing Joe Biden. August of 2024, we would only be a couple of months away, less than 3 months away from removing Joe Biden. That would be the next time. Imagine everything that could happen in that amount of time for only $11. You won't get a better deal. You won't get a better deal. Guarantee it. And I'll tell you what, God bless all of you, and I'll just be very open and honest. We could all use your support. Whether it's me, whether it's Lindley Oz, whether it's the Patriot Nurse, over at Restricted Republic, Justice Knight, Lisa Haven, Jennifer Veterans for Truth. It's just at that point right now. You know, we've always kind of had these things in the background, but right now it's getting to a critical stage. So I'll pray for you, pray for me, pray for each other, lift each other up. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.